Have you ever felt like someone treats you like a golden goose, only valuable for what you can provide, or like a backup battery, only plugged in when they're running low? What if someone close to you is secretly using you and you haven't even noticed? In this video, we're uncovering 8 warning signs that someone might be secretly using you for their own benefit. Let's explore these red flags together and protect ourselves from manipulation. But before we dive in, pay attention to this story, which will help you better understand the wisdom in this material. The story of Nadia, the invisible strings. In the heart of a bustling metropolis, Nadia lived a life many envied. She was the one people called strong, dependable, and generous. Her home was always open, her time freely given, and her friends, if they could be called that, surrounded her with laughter, admiration, and praise. But beneath the surface, Nadia often felt a quiet loneliness, a sense that something wasn't quite right. One evening, after hosting yet another dinner for her closest circle, Nadia sat alone at the dining table, the echoes of laughter still ringing in her ears. She replayed the evening in her mind, compliments about her cooking, gratitude for her hospitality. Yet there was a hollowness to it all. She couldn't pinpoint why, but something felt rehearsed, like an unspoken script was being followed. As weeks turned into months, the pattern became clearer. Her phone would light up, but only when someone needed something. Help with a project, advice on a problem, or an invitation to an event where her connections could be leveraged. Rarely, if ever, did anyone check in to ask, "How are you doing, Nadia?" She brushed it off, convincing herself that this was what friendships were supposed to feel like. Then came the breaking point. Nadia overheard a conversation at a party, a group of her so-called friends discussing her, not with admiration but with mockery. One laughed about how easy it was to get Nadia to agree to anything. Another casually joked that her generosity was her greatest weakness. It hit Nadia like a wave. The people she had surrounded herself with weren't admiring her, they were using her. Feeling betrayed and uncertain, Nadia wandered into an old library the next day, seeking distraction. Tucked in the corner was an elderly librarian, sorting through dusty books. Sensing Nadia's turmoil, the woman offered her a story. There was once a marionette who thought the people pulling her strings were her friends. She danced when they needed entertainment, bent when they needed a favor, and stood still when they didn't need her at all. But one day the marionette looked up and saw the strings. It wasn't the puppeteer's fault. They were just taking what was given. It was the marionette who needed to cut the strings herself. The words struck a chord with Nadia. She realized she had allowed herself to be a marionette, giving endlessly without questioning whether the relationships were real. From that moment, she started observing, paying attention to the subtle cues she had once ignored. The friends who only called when they needed something. The ones who vanished when she needed support. The compliments that were just precursors to requests. It was painful to let go. But Nadia began to distance herself from those who drained her and focus on building authentic connections. Slowly, her life became quieter, but richer. For the first time, she felt free. Years later, when someone asked her how she managed to surround herself with genuine people, Nadia smiled and replied, "By cutting the strings." And now, my friend, I'll leave you with the same question that changed Nadia's life. Are there invisible strings in your relationships that you haven't noticed yet? If you've ever felt uneasy about someone in your life, stay tuned as we uncover 8 warning signs they might be secretly using you. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications for more stories like this. Let's begin. Number 1, they flatter you excessively before asking for favors. Have you ever felt like you're being buttered up, only to realize it's just to slide you onto someone else's agenda? They shower you with compliments. "You're the most talented person I know. You're so reliable," until it feels like you're floating on a cloud of admiration. But just as you're basking in their praise, the real reason for their kindness emerges. A favor. It's not about appreciating you. It's about using you. Flattery is their Trojan horse. It looks harmless, even appealing. But hidden inside is their true intention, to get something from you. These people know the power of words. They play on your need to feel valued and admired, dressing their request in a sugar-coated wrapper that's hard to refuse. But here's the thing. Flattery tied to manipulation isn't a compliment. It's a transaction. Think of it like this. Genuine praise is a gift freely given with no strings attached. Manipulative flattery, on the other hand, is a bribe disguised as kindness. It's a sales pitch where you are the product. And when the favors keep piling up, but the gratitude runs dry, it becomes clear. Their appreciation was never real, it was just a tool. The Stoics had a name for this kind of manipulation: false virtue. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Do not be deceived by appearances or empty praise. True worth lies in deeds, not words." The wise understand that real respect isn't earned through flowery language, but through genuine actions. So when someone flatters you excessively, pause and ask yourself, is this sincere, or are they setting the stage for their benefit? Here's how you can outsmart this tactic. Spot the pattern. Pay attention to timing. Do their compliments always precede a request? Genuine praise comes without conditions. Manipulative flattery has a clear objective, one that benefits them, not you. Detach emotionally. Flattery is designed to disarm you, making you feel special or indebted, but you don't owe anyone anything for their words. Take a moment, breathe, and analyze the situation with logic, not emotion. Say no with confidence. When their real agenda surfaces, don't hesitate to set boundaries. Politely decline if the favor doesn't align with your values or priorities. Remember, your worth isn't defined by how much you do for others, but by how much you respect yourself. Think of excessive flattery as a beautifully wrapped gift with nothing inside. At first, it's exciting to receive, but when you open it, you realize there's no substance, just an empty gesture designed to deceive. Protect yourself from these hollow words and reserve your energy for those who genuinely care for you. At the end of the day, it's better to be respected for your authenticity than to be manipulated by insincere praise. The Stoics teach us to value deeds over words, sincerity over charm. Don't let someone's flattery steer your decisions. Be the master of your own ship. After all, you deserve relationships built on mutual respect, not hidden agendas. Number 2, they react negatively when you set boundaries. Have you ever set a boundary only to be met with anger, guilt, or passive-aggressive behavior? It's like telling someone, "This is my space, please respect it." And instead of understanding, they turn it into a personal attack. The more you try to protect yourself, the more they push back, as if your boundaries are an inconvenience to them. This isn't just disrespect, it's a glaring sign that they might be using you for their own gain. Setting boundaries isn't just a suggestion, it's a declaration of self-respect. It's like putting up a "do not disturb" sign, not to shut people out, but to protect your energy. But when someone reacts negatively to your boundaries, it's like they see that sign as a challenge to bulldoze through. They try to make you feel guilty for drawing a line, twisting the situation to make it look like you're the problem. Think of it this way. Imagine you've built a peaceful garden, a sanctuary for yourself. You've placed a beautiful gate at the entrance to protect the space you've worked so hard to cultivate. Now imagine someone shows up, and instead of respecting that gate, they try to tear it down, demanding entry and making you feel bad for not letting them in. That's exactly what happens when someone reacts negatively to your boundaries. They're trying to take control of your emotional space without considering your needs or feelings. The Stoics understood the importance of setting personal boundaries to maintain peace of mind. Marcus Aurelius once said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength." When someone challenges your boundaries, they are not just crossing a line, they are testing your strength and your willingness to protect your own peace. Here's how you can handle this situation without losing yourself in the process. Stand firm. When you set a boundary, be clear and assertive. Don't let their reaction make you second-guess yourself. Your well-being matters. If they react negatively, don't apologize for protecting yourself. Don't enter the emotional storm. Negative reactions are often a manipulation tactic. They want you to feel guilty so they can get what they want. Instead, stay calm and confident. Your peace is non-negotiable. Enforce your boundaries. Words are powerful, but actions speak louder. If they continue to push back, reinforce your boundaries by limiting their access to your emotional space. This is not about being unkind. It's about self-preservation. Imagine your boundaries as walls made of stone. The stronger you make them, the harder it is for anyone to knock them down. Those who respect and value you will understand that your boundaries are there to protect the relationship, not hinder it. But those who don't, they'll try to push through, leaving you exhausted and emotionally drained. At the end of the day, the way others react to your boundaries says more about them than it does about you. They may try to manipulate you into thinking that you're being unreasonable, but remember, you have the right to protect your space, your peace, and your mental health. As the Stoics would advise, stay grounded in your values, and don't let anyone's negative reactions sway you from maintaining your boundaries. Number 3, they take credit for your achievements. Have you ever worked tirelessly on something only to see someone else take all the credit for your hard work? They swoop in with a smile, claiming your ideas, your efforts, and your time as their own, as if they were the ones who made it happen. It's like watching someone else step into the spotlight, leaving you standing in the shadows, wondering how your success became their victory. This behavior isn't just irritating, it's a clear sign that they might be using you for their own personal gain, feeding off your energy and achievements to fuel their own image. Taking credit for someone else's work is not just a minor flaw, it's manipulation at its core. These people thrive on stealing your shine because it gives them an ego boost without the effort. It's a selfish tactic designed to make them look good while you're left feeling invisible and unappreciated. But here's the truth. It's not about your abilities or worth. It's about their need to be seen as more important, even if it means walking over others. Think of it like this. You're the artist behind a masterpiece. You've spent hours, days, or even months perfecting it, pouring your soul into each brushstroke. And just when you're ready to unveil your work to the world, someone steps forward and claims it as their own. Instead of the joy of seeing your creation celebrated, you're left watching them bask in the applause. This isn't just unfair, it's a direct violation of your effort and value. The Stoics understood the importance of humility and self-worth. Marcus Aurelius once said, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts." When someone else takes credit for your work, they are attempting to redefine your value. But remember, you define your worth, not anyone else. Don't let others' actions diminish your sense of self. So how do you handle someone who takes credit for your achievements? Stand up for yourself. When someone tries to claim what you've earned, don't stay silent. Politely but firmly remind them of your role in the success. It's not about being confrontational, it's about asserting your value. Shift the focus back to you. In meetings or discussions, be vocal about your contributions. Make sure people know the effort, thought, and time you put into the work. Acknowledge your own achievements so others do too. Don't let their actions define you. When someone takes credit for your work, it's tempting to feel small or unimportant. But remember, your achievements are yours, and no one can take that away. Keep your focus on your own growth and continue striving for excellence. Think of credit like a light in a dark room. The more you shine, the brighter the room becomes, and no one can truly take that light from you. But when someone tries to steal it, you have to fight for your right to glow. Don't let them dim your shine. At the end of the day, true success is not about recognition from others. It's about knowing the value you've brought to the world. When you do great work, you don't need external validation to know you've succeeded. As the Stoics would say, your work is your own. Let it stand for itself. Don't let others steal the credit because you deserve to bask in the rewards of your own effort. If you've watched the video this far, make sure to comment "Thank God" to let us know you're with us. Number 4, they use emotional outbursts as a weapon. Have you ever felt like someone is using their emotions as a weapon to control you? One minute, they're calm and collected, and the next, they erupt in anger, tears, or frustration, turning the whole situation into a dramatic spectacle. It's like being in a constant state of emotional warfare, where their outbursts are designed to make you feel guilty, overwhelmed, or manipulated. This is no coincidence. It's a tactic meant to keep you on edge and make you question your actions, forcing you to cater to their emotional demands. Emotional outbursts are not just a sign of frustration, they're often used as a strategic move. When someone is constantly pushing your buttons, turning minor disagreements into explosive confrontations, it's a clear indication they're trying to control the narrative. Instead of addressing issues calmly, they create chaos to divert attention from their own behavior and make you feel responsible for their emotional state. It's a form of manipulation disguised as vulnerability, and it's a dangerous game to play. Think of it like walking on a tightrope. You've set your course, and you know where you need to go, but every time you take a step, they shake the rope, trying to make you lose your balance. These emotional outbursts are designed to keep you from staying steady and focused. They want you to lose your sense of calm so they can dominate the situation and get what they want. The Stoics teach us to remain in control of our emotions and not allow others to dictate our peace. Epictetus famously said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." When someone uses emotional outbursts to manipulate you, it's not about you, it's about their inability to control their own emotions. They want you to react, to fall into the trap of guilt or anger, but the real power lies in your ability to stay calm and unshaken. So, how do you handle someone who constantly uses emotional outbursts as a weapon? Don't engage in their drama. When they explode, don't match their intensity. Stay calm and composed. You can acknowledge their feelings without being swept away by the storm. Remember, their emotional outburst is not your responsibility to fix. Set emotional boundaries. Clearly communicate that emotional manipulation won't work. If they continue to use their outbursts as a way to control you, calmly but firmly distance yourself from the situation. Set limits on how much you'll tolerate. Focus on your response. Recognize that their outbursts are designed to provoke a reaction. By staying grounded and not giving in, you take away their power. Your peace is yours to control, and no one can take that from you unless you allow it. Imagine emotional outbursts as a storm. At first, it might seem loud and threatening, but you can choose to be the calm in the eye of the storm. When you stop reacting and start observing, you regain your power. People who use outbursts to manipulate others often thrive on the chaos they create, but by refusing to engage, you remove their control over you. At the end of the day, you have the right to protect your peace. Just because someone tries to use their emotions to control you doesn't mean you have to play along. As the Stoics taught us, we control our responses, and in doing so, we can maintain our inner calm no matter what the world throws at us. Number 5, they only contact you when they need something. Have you ever noticed how some people seem to vanish into thin air, only to magically reappear when they need something from you? It's as if you're a vending machine. They press the right buttons, get what they want, and disappear without a second thought. This behavior, though subtle at first, is a glaring warning sign that someone might be using you for their own benefit. Let's explore what this really means and why it's time to pay attention. When someone only contacts you when they need help, be it money, favors, advice, or even emotional support, it's a one-sided relationship. Sure, friendships and relationships involve give and take, but the key word here is balance. If someone consistently shows up only when there's something in it for them, they're not valuing you. They're valuing what you can provide. It's draining, isn't it? Like trying to fill a bottomless cup. No matter how much effort you put in, it's never enough. Take a moment to reflect. When was the last time this person reached out to you just to ask, "How are you doing?" Or to share a laugh, celebrate your achievements, or simply spend time together with no strings attached? If your answer is, "I can't remember," that's a red flag waving right in your face. Stoic philosophy teaches us the value of meaningful connections, relationships built on mutual respect and sincerity. The ancient Stoics believed that while we cannot control how others treat us, we can and must decide how much access we allow them to our lives. It's okay to help others, but it's equally important to ask yourself, at what cost? If someone's needs always take precedence over your well-being, boundaries need to be drawn. So, how do you deal with someone who only contacts you when they need something? First, observe without judgment. Notice patterns. Are they consistently absent during your tough times, but suddenly appear when they're facing a challenge? Then, have an honest conversation. Calmly express how you feel and see if they're willing to reciprocate your efforts. If their behavior doesn't change or they make excuses, it's a sign they're not interested in a genuine relationship. You also need to value your time and energy. Think of it as a bank account. Would you let someone withdraw endlessly without ever depositing anything? Of course not. The same goes for your emotional and mental resources. Save your energy for people who uplift you, not those who deplete you. At the end of the day, being used by someone is not a reflection of your worth, but a testament to their character. Recognize the signs, protect your peace, and remember this Stoic lesson. True relationships are rooted in respect and authenticity, not selfish gain. Let go of those who only take and make room for those who truly care. If you've enjoyed the video so far, please make sure to like it. It'll take you less than 2 seconds and it'll put a big smile on my face. Number 6, you feel drained after interacting with them. Have you ever walked away from a conversation feeling completely exhausted, as if someone just siphoned all the energy out of you? It's not the kind of tired you feel after a workout or a long day. It's deeper, heavier, like carrying a backpack full of bricks you didn't even realize you picked up. This is what it feels like when someone uses you emotionally. Instead of leaving you feeling connected or fulfilled, their presence feels like a storm that drains your mental and emotional reserves. Emotional exhaustion is one of the clearest signs that someone might be secretly using you. These people don't just take, they overwhelm. They vent their frustrations, offload their problems, and demand your constant support while offering little to no care in return. It's a one-way street where you're the listener, the problem solver, the rescuer, and they're the passenger hitching a free ride. The result? You feel depleted, as though your inner well has run dry. Imagine your energy as a battery. Healthy relationships recharge it. They add joy, comfort, and encouragement. But toxic relationships, they drain it faster than a phone with too many apps running in the background. If you notice a pattern where every interaction with a particular person leaves you feeling fatigued, anxious, or even resentful, that's your warning sign. The Stoics emphasized guarding one's peace and avoiding emotional chaos. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." This applies perfectly here. While you can't control how someone behaves, you can control how much access they have to your emotional energy. So, How do you handle this draining presence? Start by setting boundaries. If their conversations consistently leave you feeling empty, limit the time and energy you give them. Politely redirect their issues or suggest they seek help from someone who can offer professional advice. You don't have to be their therapist or emotional sponge. Next, reflect on the balance in your relationship. Ask yourself, when was the last time they offered to help me, asked about my day, or supported me in a meaningful way? If it's always about them and never about you, it's time to reevaluate their place in your life. Lastly, remember that protecting your peace isn't selfish, it's essential. Like a plant that can't thrive in poor soil, your mental well-being depends on the environment you cultivate. If someone constantly drains you, they're not just taking your time, they're taking pieces of your happiness. Let this be your guiding metaphor. You are a garden, and your energy is the water that nourishes it. Give too much to weeds, and the flowers won't bloom. Choose carefully where and how you invest your energy. As the Stoics teach us, peace of mind is priceless, and it's your responsibility to protect it. When you start saying no to what drains you, you make room for what truly fulfills you. Number 7, they ignore your boundaries. Have you ever set a clear boundary only to watch someone bulldoze right over it, as if your words were nothing more than whispers in the wind? It's a frustrating experience, like putting up a "Do Not Enter" sign, only for someone to barge in, rearrange your space, and leave chaos behind. Ignoring boundaries is not just disrespectful. It's a glaring red flag that someone might be using you for their own benefit. Boundaries are like invisible fences. They define what you're comfortable with and protect your emotional and mental space. Healthy relationships respect these boundaries, but people who use you see them as obstacles to get around. Whether it's constant interruptions in your personal time, disregarding your no, or pressuring you to do things you're uncomfortable with, their behavior speaks volumes. Your limits don't matter to them, only their needs do. Let's get real. Ignoring boundaries is not a misunderstanding. It's a choice. Someone who values you will make the effort to honor your limits, even if they don't fully understand them. But someone who doesn't, they'll test, push, and even manipulate you into feeling guilty for standing your ground. It's a subtle yet insidious way to prioritize their wants over your well-being. The Stoics believed in the power of self-control and guarding your inner peace. Epictetus famously said, "No man is free who is not master of himself." When someone ignores your boundaries, they rob you of that freedom. They make you a servant to their whims, and if you allow it, over time, it chips away at your self-respect and confidence. So how do you protect yourself? Start with clarity. Communicate your boundaries assertively yet kindly. For example, if you need uninterrupted time after work to recharge, let them know. If they dismiss it or continue to encroach, it's a clear sign of disrespect. Next, reinforce your boundaries with action. Words alone won't work with someone who constantly ignores limits. If they persist, take a step back. Limit their access to you. It's not about being unkind, it's about preserving your mental and emotional health. Remember, protecting your boundaries isn't selfish, it's self-respect. Think of boundaries like a fortress. The stronger you build and maintain it, the harder it is for invaders to cause harm. Those who genuinely care for you will respect the gates and find the proper way to enter, through kindness and understanding. But those who storm through uninvited, they don't belong in your life. At the end of the day, your boundaries are a reflection of how much you value yourself. By enforcing them, you're sending a clear message. I deserve respect, and I won't settle for less. Remember this Stoic wisdom. You can't control how others act, but you can control what you allow. Protect your space, your peace, and your worth, because no one else will do it for you. Number 8, they downplay your efforts while maximizing their gains. Have you ever been in a situation where you've put in all the hard work, made countless sacrifices, and given your best, only to have someone else downplay your efforts while reaping all the rewards? It's like working tirelessly on a project, giving it your all, only for them to swoop in and take credit for the success, leaving you with nothing but a pat on the back. Their focus isn't on appreciating your contribution, it's on maximizing their own gain while minimizing yours. This is more than just unfair, it's a calculated manipulation. They take the spotlight, positioning themselves as the hero while quietly belittling the work you've done to elevate their own position. It's a clever tactic that lets them walk away with all the benefits while you're left feeling invisible and undervalued. It's a classic move used by people who want to benefit from your efforts without acknowledging the value you bring to the table. Imagine being in a relay race where you've passed the baton, running your hardest to get it across the line. But as soon as the other person takes over, they pretend they did all the work, leaving you in the background. They boast about their victory, all the while ignoring the fact that it was your effort that helped them win the race in the first place. It's infuriating, isn't it? But the truth is, this behavior says more about them than it does about you. The Stoics taught us the importance of self-awareness and not allowing others to dictate our worth. Marcus Aurelius once said, "The opinion of others is of no concern to me. I am the master of my actions, and my value is defined by my own efforts, not by their recognition." When others downplay your efforts, it's important to remember that your value is not tied to their validation. What you contribute is significant, whether they acknowledge it or not. So, how do you deal with someone who downplays your efforts while maximizing their gains? Don't shrink yourself. When they downplay your contributions, don't minimize your role, own your success, and speak up about your hard work. If they try to take all the credit, calmly point out your contributions without getting defensive. Redirect the focus. Instead of letting them steal the limelight, redirect the conversation to highlight what you've done. Be vocal about your achievements and how your efforts have helped bring about the success. This isn't about bragging. It's about giving yourself the recognition you deserve. Don't take it personally. Recognize that their need to maximize their gains at your expense reflects their insecurity, not your worth. Don't internalize their actions. Stay grounded in your own sense of value, and remember that true success is not defined by external validation. Think of this situation like planting a garden. You've nurtured the seeds, watered them, and patiently waited for them to grow. But when the flowers bloom, someone else picks them and claims the glory. The beauty of the garden, however, remains yours. The hard work you put in can never be erased, even if they try to steal the credit. At the end of the day, the most important validation comes from within. Your efforts matter, and you are the one who defines their worth. Don't let someone else downplay your contributions to lift themselves up. As the Stoics would advise, stay focused on your purpose, your progress, and your own sense of achievement. Your efforts will always speak for themselves, even if others try to silence them. If any of the points resonated with you, be sure to comment, "Thank God I learned it," to share your thoughts and let us know how it connected.